Rolling Along by Dan Brook. I'm so grateful I landed right here. Buongiorno, Italia. Wandering through this so-called eternal city, it is so easy to get lost in time. So much has happened here in the past few millennia in and around Rome. Only the Casa Largo di Torri Argentina, formerly the Theater of Pompeii, where Caesar was killed by his, quote, friends, on 15th of March, 44 BCE, have seen it all and know how to keep quiet about it. I met an orange cat there named Rosmarina, and we meowed about other things, much more important, personal and relevant matters that I shall not disclose here, and we both purred in the Roman sun. Rolling out of Rome, that magnificent land of many lasagna layers with histories strewn about hither, thither, dither, and whither, blending almost harmoniously with some dashes of discordance. Andiamo. Rolling the rails into Tuscany, I was struck by the green grasses, yellow mustard flowers, fragrant purple wisteria, bright red poppies, rusted red roofs, ancient gray stones, leafy olive groves, fruitful orange and lemon trees, twisted grapevines, and many dapper-clad Italians strolling the walled city of Little Lucca at a more leisurely pace than me, who somehow was still rushing around like an American idiot, even though I have no one to meet, nothing to do, nowhere to go, and no time to be there. Ah, dolci far niente. I am glad there is no American fast, so-called food outlets here, but there thankfully is plenty of pizza, pasta, pesto, and pastries, as well as fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains galore, not to mention gelato, chocolate, biscotti, wine, liqueur, all of which I gorge on, satiating and imagining myself getting fat while slim and sexy Italians casually prance along, strutting their stuff in fire engine red pants, a little black dress, and a light green suit with a striped scarf. Where Rome exudes empire, power, wealth, grandiosity, and more, always more, Tuscany lounges in the sweet spot of la dolce vita. Lucca is confident, albeit humble, that it has it good in its special enclave of traditional ways, fertile fields, ancient architecture, fresh food, sartorial style, and natural peace. At just past 2 o'clock on Sunday, most of the church bells rang, a bit late as usual, and not at all at the same exact time, because there is no need to rush here. Getting so excited that they lost control of themselves, flying out of their stately bell towers and into the open vineyards of the surrounding hills to serenade the grapes. Wine does not make itself, after all. One little girl flew off with the bells, so various Lucchesi people shouted, "Ciao, arrivederci," and "Va bene" skyward. I was quite envious, and they could sense it, so the pasta maker's husband, Rustico, told me there was no need to be. Different ages have different privileges, Rustico matter-of-factly mentioned while looking away. The bells of Florence, Firenze here, are much better behaved. Firenze knows it is the cultural capital of the universe, and so it acts that way. Actually, everyone lucky enough to have been there knows it is. Around the Palazzo Vecchio, the capital of the capital, so to speak, is the cultural epicenter. Here, the Medicis ruled during the Renaissance and the birth of capitalism, and it is now the modern city hall and a museum. In front and around this building, one could experience the bronze statue of Cosimo Medici on his horse, a perfect copy of Michelangelo's David, where the original once stood, a ground plaque for Savonarola, who launched the regressive bonfire of the vanities and was eventually himself consumed by one there. The invention of the piano by Bartolomeo Cristofori, who is entombed nearby, St. Francis' robe and rope belt, one of the two patron saints of Italy, the other being St. Catherine of Siena, both of whom were animal-loving vegetarians. Botticelli's Birth of Venus in the world-class Uffizi Gallery, Brunelleschi's dome on the Duomo, the Galileo Museum with Galileo's middle finger saluting visitors, and stone statues of Dante Alighieri, Niccolo Machiavelli, Galileo Galilei, Giotto, Donatello, Hercules, Neptune, Amerigo Vespucci, Leonardo da Vinci, and many other greats associated with this fantastical place, and so much more. While walking by, Amerigo quipped, "Vivi, ama, viaggia" to me, and I smiled back at him, appreciating his sage advice, as living, loving, and traveling are my favorite activities. Galileo gently reminded me that it moves the mind as well as il mondo, and I gratefully and gently absorbed his wisdom. Leonardo's stony body then bent down and whispered in my ear that the secret would be revealed, as it always is when we looked inside. That was the next stop on our itinerary. That is always the next stop on our itinerary.